evening, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills. For all those online and all those in the room, my name is Nancy Woods. I'm the assistant minister here, and I am overjoyed to have y'all join us for this very special, perfect evening as we spend some time sharing the wonders and the joys of some history that has brought us to this place and this time. To understand where we came from helps us to know where we are, to deal with where we are and where we are going. So at this center, we always start our service with lighting the flames of faith. And to help me do that this evening is joined by our practitioner, Beverly Scott. And thank you. All right, so we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings come from one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unified nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. So as Beverly lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic tradition, honoring the beliefs and the practice of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light the 10th candle for those who are as yet unaware of spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our hearts, or even online. And as Beverly lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender. I trust in God.
Let us turn within, entering into the secret place full of love, peace, and joy. I fill my mind with thoughts of God, remembering the divine love and divinity that connects us all. Giving thanks for each and every one of you here this evening in the sanctuary and online. We open ourselves to receive what is ours to receive from the music and the message that will be delivered this evening. As we remove from our awareness that which divides us, and we focus on that which unites us, we are a living embodiment of oneness. Oh, this evening, as we accept and know that there is only one mind, one life, one God, we are that life, that mind, and incarnations of that God. I stand before you knowing that what we shall receive this evening will be enlightenment to the truth that each and every one of us bring forth as living spirits of oneness. And I am thankful and grateful for the unfoldment of life in my world. When we draw into our life and draw from our own intuition, we are living the life of freedom, the life of love, the life of compassion. And I attest today, this evening, what Dr. Martin Luther King has said for us. I have a dream, and we shall live that dream. From a high, high vibration of gratitude, I release this truth into the activity, perfect activity of law, knowing without a shadow of a doubt, this is who we are. Let's live it and be it. We are light bearers. Share with me in affirming this truth and saying, and so it is. Amen. Thank you all. I have a few announcements that I shall go through rather quickly because we have a wonderful program. For each and every one of you, if you are in need of a practitioner, we have several here, wonderful practitioners here at Granada Hills. We can be reached at CSLGH.org. I am a practitioner. I would love to hear from any of you at any time. Thank you. The announcements are brief. Thursday, June 20th at 7 p.m., full moon meditation ceremony. Sunday, June 23rd, Reverend Karen Mitchell will speak here at the center on the 2024 theme, A Grand Rising, Higher Heights. And for all of you that are here in the sanctuary and online, Sunday, June 30th, we will have a potluck with Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. Please find the time to visit us. We'd love to have you. And without a further ado, I'd like to announce so many papers. Here we are. Our board president, Salam Thomas. He will provide notes on Juneteenth for us. Thank you, Salam. And we will have beautiful music provided and sung by Terry Page and Carol Woodall. Thank you all for being here this evening.
Good evening, everyone. everyone. How's everyone doing? How's everyone thinking? So, the science of mind, so I want to keep that mind engaged there. So, we have a lot going on with Juneteenth happening, with a celebration here. There's also an impetus upon us all to really keep a connection between the history of where Juneteenth began and the contemporary struggles that we have right now to this very day. Before I get into the meaning of Juneteenth, I think it'd be fair to say that there recently in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there are 3 living survivors who were denied their day in court for the Tulsa massacre, right? And we were often told that, well, you weren't alive, it didn't happen to you. These folks were alive, they're 110 years old, 103, and so on and so forth. So that being said, it just shows what work we have to do. So Juneteenth, right? And we've seen a remix of many different forms of freedom, or what they tell us is freedom, right? We had the Emancipation Proclamation, January 1st, 1863. And in the Constitution, the nomenclature changed from slaves to free slaves. I don't know about you, it's an oxymoron there. And we know what oxymoron is, right? Where you have 2 entities with the opposite in nature but brought together, right? Erroneously, albeit. So when we look at examining emancipation, emancipation comes from the Latin word emancipere, which means to free from the hand. Notice it didn't say free from the control, right? So what are some examples of that in our great state of California, where, believe it or not, even though it was admitted to the Union in 1850 as a free state, there was a slavery practice and vestiges within the state here. Biddy Mason, Archie Lee are 2 examples. There's a third example that I bring forth of our owner was Charles Perkins, who brought his 3 slaves from Mississippi, and he was in pursuit of gold. He didn't strike out rich. He couldn't afford to pay his slaves back away to Mississippi. So his partner, who he came with, instituted emancipatory rule that if you work for him for a period of 6 months, then you'll be free. But wait a minute, I thought emancipation meant freedom. So that's clear proof that it did not, only to find, long story short, that after those 3 slaves were free and they founded a mining company, the original owner who was broke in Mississippi came back and took advantage of the California Fugitive Slave Law of 1852 and pursued ownership and recaptured those 3 slaves. The California state legislature supported that. As they were en route back to Mississippi, they docked in Panama. The 3 slaves escaped, never to be heard from again. So that's in context, an example of how, like the word and phrasing, and language is very important. When you form language, you form ideas, right? But it takes some intention, in the spirit of Wayne Dyer, to carry that, idea forward, okay? So we have Juneteenth down in Galveston, where the General Order 3 was delivered by Gordon Granger. But within that order, there's always a twist when it comes to legislation. It says, in phrasing, in part, you can look this up, you have your smartphones, that this involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that of an employer and a hired labor. Now, I don't know how many divorced women are in here, right? Imagine if you filed for divorce from your husband, but yet you were still required to do marital duties to that man that you just got a divorce from. So that's, in essence, that's the trick bag of language that was in the order that was said to free us, but in it, it was things that were codified. And I can go on with the 13th Amendment and how it was codified with labor and things like that, but that's a conversation for another time. But 30 years ago, there was a book that was written by Sultan Latif and his wife, Naima Latif, that talked about slavery and the African-American psychic trauma. And within that book, it states that 94% of the thoughts, beliefs, and actions of contemporary Black people today in the hoods all throughout the country have a derivative of plantation life. Now, where did that come from, that plantation psychosis? Well, in sociology, there's an axiom that says that if you impose a habit on a group of people, for 3 generations, they will repeat that habit as second nature. Am I right? If there are any sociology folks, okay? But here's the thing. A generation is also, according to sociology, is 20 years. So if the principles of sociology say that I can it's only take me 3 generations to inculcate my beliefs, so those beliefs will perform on autopilot long after my absence, right? Well, we know that slavery was not just 3 generations, it was 20, right? We know that slavery was not, so generations 20 times 3 is 60 years. We know slavery was not 60 years, it was 400 plus, right? So this speaks to how we have not only work to do in terms, Juneteenth is a time folks turn up and folks get their party on at the barbecue. That's cool. We dance, sing, and things like that, celebrate us being us. That's all good, but there is a greater work that has to be done in terms of applying principles that you're taught here, the science of mind, to form the language and form the ideas and perform the fruits of labor to eventually take us to form that more perfect union, which our keynote speaker will speak about later on today. But in the interest of time, I'll vacate because we have plenty of gifts. I can go on and on about this. I'm going to stop and adhere to brevity, but we have musical gifts, and then we also have our keynote speaker later. So thank you for lending me your time and speaking on the principles of Juneteenth. Thank you.
with the souls intact. Oh, and that's a fact. You are young, gifted, and black. We must begin to tell our young there's a world waiting for you when you're feeling, oh, it's just begun. When you're feeling real low, there's a great truth you should remember and know that you're young, gifted, and black. The soul's intact, oh, and that's a fact. You're young, gifted, and black. What a mighty sweet thing, yes it is now. Yeah, I said, young, gifted, and black. Oh, my sisters, young, gifted, you got the soul intact. It's a matter of fact that the future, don't you ever look back. I say, oh, gifted and black. Ooh, oh, yeah.
That was a gift. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you all for being here. So, now we get to have a special treat. Oh, our speaker this evening, Reverend Gordon Bailey, a very powerful young man. Started off in New York City. A little better, huh? His whole life seems like he's been reaching out for people. He started off working with boys at the Catholic churches. He's done it from the Job Corps, and he also worked in the public school system. It's so much here that trying to say all the things that he did to help others. And so, and he's right here at the Unitarian Universal Church. But on his way here, he actually finished school at the University of the District of Columbia. And into anthropology and sociology. He attended Wesley Theological Seminary, and he moved over from other programs into ministry. He has a Master's of Divinity. And so in his first early years, he actually coached others how to be in pastoral care, as he was pastoral counseling and urban ministry. And then he's been in so many of these churches, the Unitarian churches, teaching and coaching others. So he is now here, and there is a young lady by the name of Lisa Bailey who keeps him in line, which is his wife, and they have 4 beautiful children. And you have a granddaughter too, right? Yes. This young man did a lot of work for society, and he wants to share his ideas of current view from Juneteenth. And thank you. Help me welcome Reverend Gordon Bailey.
I feel like I was memorialized. You know, gifted, I hope so. And I used to be black. Don't get it fuzzy. I always got to remind y'all. Somebody said to me, how could that be? I said, shoot. Folks been losing their color for 444 years trying to get out of the way of white folks. See, if we look like y'all don't mess with us. So here I is. All right, I'm gonna start with something. My president for my congregation is here. Janet, wave your hands, throw your hands up in the air. Janet Landau from the Sepulveda Unitarian Universal Society. Now, every time I come back, y'all don't have to introduce me in a big way. I'm always glad to come here because you all have a universal notion of spirituality and theology that resonates with me. So I love what you all do and what you're about. When you light those candles, my heart goes pitter-patter. Pitter-patter, pitter-patter. So here today, on this Juneteenth holiday, a holy day, because when freedom came my way, oh, I wanted to celebrate. You know, I'm a Jamaican, half Jamaican, half of the United States, and Bob Marley always resonates in my heart. He sang about shooting the sheriff. Well, I ain't shooting nobody, but freedom came my way one day when I started down that academic way. All of a sudden, white supremacy tried to hold me down, but I wouldn't play around. And I say, freedom is what this life is all about. And if you don't have yours, you better find it before you check out. See, freedom means more than just having the ability to go to work, pay the mortgage, be somebody's spouse. Freedom has more to do with your internal capacities to let your mind be unshackled, to let your mind be free, to throw off the yoke of paternalism, patriarchy, white supremacy, to throw off the yoke of these things that separate and divide the human family. We have been under some oppression for so long, I wonder if the human family even recognizes what it would be to truly be free. So young, no. Middle-aged, I'm AARP guy. Old, kind of gifted, and black internally, mentally, right? Black mentally because I grew up in the struggle of the 1960s. The first thing I remember on television are the water cannons being sprayed on those freedom fighters, people that wanted to vote. I watched the documentary on YouTube earlier today. Give them a plug, right? They're getting our message out there. And Professor Gates from Harvard University was speaking about Juneteenth. He said only about 500,000 African peoples were freed initially when President Lincoln, who I think has a touch of the tar in him, that's what we used to say. I think Lincoln's some part black. Look at the New York Tribune. They wrote an article way back long ago in the 1860s, Africanus Lincolnus. Check it out. Brother got some coarse hair. I know what I know. All right now, we need DNA on all the presidents so the truth could be told. Dwight D. Eisenhower told my father that his grandmother was an octoroon. That make you black in my book. See, the one-drop rule was what America went by. All right, so let me share with you what I wrote, because I could just talk extemporaneously, and I'd be like, did I tell y'all what I really needed to say? So about what I came to deliver this day, the joys of freedom and why we better work extra hard in the here and now, because I see fascism and totalitarianism and systems that will oppress the human family in a global way, growing in power and in strength. And we're even looking at somebody that would be president that is in bed with Vladimir Putin, and I don't think that's a good thing. I need our American leaders to be a guiding light. See, our nation was supposedly founded on freedom, but remember, only land-holding white men were really free. And white men had the audacity to give black men voting privileges and not their white women. Boy, that would, if I was a woman, you wouldn't have gotten another piece from me ever. You know, that Greek comedy, Lysistrata, where those Greek women refused to sleep with the men of Athens and Sparta until they stopped warring. Shoot, every white woman should have said, no, baby, it's not happening. I don't know what y'all white women was thinking, but anyway, if you can channel your grandmothers and great-grandmamas, you ask them, because no, that's a no. You gave who? 4/5 what? Right? 4/5 human. But you gave them a vote before you gave women. So we've got issues. So here, I've got some freedom quotes for you. And here's purportedly the motto for America, meaning the United States. I don't know why we take the whole continent as if we have a right to do that, right? Canada and Mexico are part of North America, and there's all of South America. All right. But this motto that I found says, freedom for all forever, the motto of the United States of America. When was this? Not when you felonize people like you turn on a water faucet. Not when you deny people their rights. All right, here's another one that I thought was interesting. John Adams, second president of the United States, Unitarian, one of my people, right? John Adams stood up for those folks, for the rights, the liberty. Well, went to England and was doing work with the British folks to get us our freedom. And John says, children should be educated and instructed in the principles of freedom. Not if you live in a state that's denying access to books. Not if you live somewhere where you can't say the word gay. Not if you live somewhere where Black history apparently isn't United States history. Although, let's be clear, Canada and Mexico have had black folks for a long time too. Yes. In fact, Yanga, Mexico was the first free black community in what's North America outside of Veracruz. All right. Here's another one I like. George Washington, founding father. Have you all ever met any white Washingtons? Never. I've never met a white Washington. Anybody? I'm puzzled by this, but anyway, and in D.C., across the river from Mount Vernon, there's a whole lot of black folks named Washington. They say George didn't meddle his stock, but I'm here to tell you. All right. So George said, liberty, when it begins to take root, is a plant of rapid growth. Well, let me tell you how it grew. When the cause of liberty came to the minds of the Africans who had been in bondage, they never wanted to look back. MLK famously said, freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. And I'm here to tell you, whether it's women, the LGBTQIA plus community, immigrants, whoever they be, where'd y'all families come from? Half of mine's from Jamaica, but the other half been here since the 1600s. But we all came from somewhere. Are there any full indigenous people in this room? One person. I want to honor you and thank you for letting me be on Turtle Island. I have no right to be here in my way of understanding this world. Going to someone else's house, take what's theirs. Freedom for who? Justice for who? Liberty for who? This right here is Tongva, Gabrielino, right? Who else is from here? Janet, tell me I'm forgetting. Chumash. This here be their land. Do we remember them? Do we call their name? Say their name, and give them some money too. They're still here and alive, right? Freedom. Benjamin Franklin had the audacity to say, where liberty dwells, there's my country. Then I guess all the rest of us that weren't being treated with that should have bum rushed out of here. So let's be clear. What is the United States is an experiment. It's an experiment in multicultural, multi-ethnic, multi-religious, multi-gendered, every kind of classification you could put upon the human family. We're an experiment. An experiment that is having profound implications for the whole world. In the Guide for Spiritual Living for today, I was most impressed with the reading. It says, make bold changes. Let me give you this quote. All that you touch, you change. All that you change changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Well, the march towards what is a more perfect union, towards what is a more perfect incarnation of paradise on earth for all of the creation, is each and every one of us experiencing freedom of the mind, freedom of your spirit to follow whichever one of those guiding lights is your spiritual bright star, constellation that you're going towards. Freedom of your body to deal with it medically as a man or a woman as you see fit. Freedom to express yourself as they or them, or whatever designation you choose to give yourself in your personhood. Freedom to live where you want to. This here Valley of Los Angeles was one of the most segregated places in the nation. The small little black community that used to live out here, is it Pacoima? Pacoima. Let me stop losing my New York accent. Right? And I found out today the last governor of Alta California was a negrito, a Afro-Mexicano, Pico. How many of you knew he was a black man? Pico, that boulevard is big, isn't it? Isn't it even the last governor of Alta California? But why would you learn that? Why would a nation that only sees one color, lifts up one people, lifts up one gender? See, in this here moment in time, freedom is needed for everyone, and we've got to express it spiritually. We got to express it economically. We got to express it academically. The chains must be unshackled for everybody. How long must we wait? Now, y'all supposed to say, too long, right? How long must we wait? Too long. Is that acceptable? And y'all say no. What are we going to do about it? Change. Because change is in the deity, or is in the very nature of the divine. Lord have mercy. We've got to find the capacity within ourselves. If you drink too much, give it up. If you smoke too much, put it down. If you eat too much, Push it away, find some rabbit food. If you're too angry all the time, get some help. If you're too sad all the time, find somebody that loves you to give you hugs. See, change is necessary if we're going to bring about the more perfect union, the more perfect global experience. See, I was here doing so much work. Brother Salam Thompson?
Yes, sir.
All right now, I heard Brother Thompson in the house. I was looking at something. You know, right now, according to the United Nations, there are over 50 million people living as slaves right now. When you buy your clothing, do you ever look at the labels of where it comes from? I used to love those women on that commercial. Look for the union label when you were buying a dress shirt or blouse. You see, unions matter because without unions, they don't pay people decent wages. And with all this clothes coming through Walmart or Target or whomever it is, they're coming from non-union sources as they make their mega dollars, and we continue to contribute to the oppression of peoples globally. In my beloved Jamaica, they have offshore docks where they're not made to follow the laws of Jamaica and pay the people in those factories substandard wages even for Jamaica. And trust me, none of the standards in Jamaica is high. People living and suffering daily. I went further and I said, well, if there are 50 million in the world that are slaves, how many in the United States? Y'all have any idea how many are here? Oh, see, I lived in New York. I saw some of them. I literally saw people that when I tried to inquire why they were doing what they were doing, they were told by their masters and mistress, don't talk to that man. Some of my friends from Nigeria had brought people here to the States who were their slaves. See, in Africa, there's a lot of slavery. In India, there's a lot of slavery. But here in the United States, they estimate that there's somewhere between 400 and 500,000 slaves living in our midst. Okay, so this isn't let's beat up America, let's beat up the great white way, let's beat up all the things that are of our nation. That's not my intent here. My intent here is to galvanize support for us to do the right thing, to seek higher ground by lifting up those who are suffering. We've got a serious houselessness issue, right? I don't know how we fix that, but I do know where two or three are gathered for the highest possibilities that a human can bring, that universal mind, that God-given mentality, that spirit is available to us to discern how to make things better. Right here in this room, the brilliance of each of us sitting here, channeling that higher power, we can figure something out. We may not be able to figure everything out, but we can figure something out. I saw something in an article entitled Spirituality is True Freedom, the Journey Towards Pure Love and Innocence. This is by Ruchi Talwal. She says, once India wanted to be free from the clutches of Britain. Once India gained independence after the many protests, deaths, and conflicts. But even after 75 years, are the Indian people free? Have any of you been to India? If you go, just watch that movie Slumdog Millionaire if you want to get just a little taste of what's going on. She goes on to say the conflict of equality in gender, race, color is on the rise, right? So that when I was a boy, the Stonewall riot happened in New York. You know, a black trans woman is the one that put that into motion, huh? The LGBTQIA. Once again, somebody black had to pay the ultimate price for moving America forward, right? Because as black folks rise, women and other people of color always rise with us. Sometimes, in fact, they get more than us. The black folks did all that work, and white women were the #1 beneficiaries of all the legislation of affirmative action. I'm just trying to keep it 100%. 1 year law school, I dropped out because I said, oh, there's no justice. But my mom and dad are lawyers, my brother a lawyer. Trust me, I've been watching judges and legal matters my whole life. Watch too much news. My wife hates it. Lisa, I know you're listening. She says, turn that thing off. Makes you angry. Yeah. Righteous indignation. You understand me? When you see something wrong. All right. So, what is freedom? We are all aware of freedom to do what one wants as an ideal. Well, I had a friend that all he wanted to do was snort cocaine. Bad idea. I had another friend that liked to shoot people. He's dead and gone because somebody shot him. I had another friend that liked to meddle children. Man, I didn't know he was going to be a pedophile when we were children. He was my childhood friend. See, freedom isn't free. None of us have the right to do exactly what we want. The narcissistic American peoples, and I do mean Mexico, United States, and Canada, because there's never been a more narcissistic bunch of people in a global mass before. Like our big cars, you ever seen so many SUVs and trucks? What happened to the energy crisis? What happened to clean air? Freedom. Freedom is about doing what is right, having the ability to discern what is right. So when I say to you, when you look at the next baby or infant you see, that cherry grin that they may be giving you, the bliss that they radiate, it's not dependent on money. It's not dependent on the house, the car, the position, the relationships. Their innocence is authentic. But dear friends, something happens to the vast majority of us as we grow older. We forget the innocence. But I'm here to tell you, you have the capacity, you have the knowledge, you have everything at your fingertips to really live free, to unburden yourself, to throw off the shackles, to forget those linked oppressions, and to go forward with your life in a way that radiates goodwill, justice, freedom, and love for all. Do you all believe that you can do that? You can be that light, that source that's like giving out something good? Come on, president of mine. Do you believe you can do it? Yeah. All right now, because that's what I need. I need each of us, no matter what our circumstances. See, I brought a little friend along, Nelson Mandela. 26 years in that prison cell on Robben Island. He didn't come out bitter. He didn't come out trying to get people back for what happened to him. We probably should have had a bloodbath in South Africa. The white South Africans still have 99% of the wealth. But Nelson Mandela refused to let his nation descend into a bloodbath. He said, we're better than that. So working for freedom is a daily exercise. Working for justice should be on the minds of everybody, not just the oppressed. Working for the higher ground that this spiritual movement of yours and mine offers is where we've got to go if we're going to make this world a better place. This morning, I woke up with freedom on my mind. That's an old Negro song. Woke up this morning with freedom on my mind. But I heard the words of Stevie Wonder. And this song, I think they're going to play it at my birthday or my memorial. Play it for me all the time. Love's in need of love. You know that song? Love's in need of love. Well, if there's to be true justice, true liberty, true freedom, it begins with love. Let it reign supreme in your lives. Amen? Amen. All right, amen. Thank you. Y'all are too kind.
Oh my God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I tell you he was powerful. What a message. What a message. Well, we're working on it here. All of us. I'm looking at the people in the audience. All of us are working on it. Yeah, it's a journey. And I thank you all for listening. And thank you all for joining us. Juneteenth. It's a memorable history. But I want to share a nugget for myself. I think that each one of us really has a power and the ability. If we're willing, we can find out just how much power we have to bless all the souls around us with our own gift of being. Everybody in here has something to give. And that's one of my favorite songs. Love is in the need of love. And I think we had him sing it here a couple of weeks ago. And but I'm looking at faces. I know just about everybody in here. And when I think of each one of you, I think about love. How I appreciate the idea. And it seems like the more I'm feeling love for the people, the more people love me. So I really find it's a two-way street. And I told Reverend Mike today, I'm going to stop trying to fix people and just keep on loving them.
Change yourself, man. That's it.
Yeah, because it is an inside job. All of us, y'all, this is so wonderful to know that. To me, Juneteenth is a memory because it's a place where we started. We started towards that idea and that concept of being whole within ourselves and freeing ourselves from the impact of society because we think we need the answer from out there. Every heart in here is a heart of love. Every heart in here, every mind in here knows choice. Each one of us can choose to be the light of love. And I truly, truly appreciate that all of you, and, you know, I kind of feel like I'm talking to the choir because the people I see out here are people of love. So we just got to do it more and more and more. And as you said, we are using that infinite power. The infinite power has an answer for everything. So if we get more in touch with it, we'll find more answers. And we can help each other get more in touch with it. Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So can I? So I'm going to do a closing treatment. Offering basket? It's if you want to, if you all want to offer us a gift in any way, there's a basket, and you can stop at that basket and drop something in it on your way out. I'm going to trust the Spirit, and you will tell you what to do. Because I realize and I understand that as I open my heart, my whole being to guide me in this experience and this understanding, I realize that infinite intelligence that I rely on, that which I depend on, that which I know that I came from, is actually that which is the essence of who and what I am. As I know this and I experience it, I realize that I am surrounded by this being. I am faced with this being. I am experiencing this being with every soul that is within my experience. As I realize and understand that divine presence of life has given us this day and this time and this moment together, that we may embrace ourselves in such a way that we know that this is just a journey into the infinite presence and creating more and more, and change is coming as we awaken ourselves to this inner awareness, this inner understanding, this nugget of truth that is the essence of who and what we are, in which we can rely on the wisdom, the joy and the peace and the good that is in each and every one of us. It's already here, and we are opening ourselves in this moment to allow it to spring forth into expression as it becomes the life that we live, the joy, the words that we speak, the whole being that we put forth into our lives and all our experience. So it's with this loving experience, this loving opportunity to look at our history and say, bless us. We have now been given the freedom to choose a life in which we are a light unto our own lives and to every life that we experience around us. And as we go forth from this experience, we do it in a greater, more expanded way. We take whatever truth that came through us and allow it to bloom and blossom and grow and expand, because we are a source of good for the whole humankind, for the whole world. And it's with this kind of joy and this sense of peace and this sense of love that is being brought forth according to the word that I am placing forth. It becomes a truth in every life. It becomes a power for every event and every activity and every step we take. It is the essence of being that we live out of from this moment forward. So we can rejoice, but this truth has been placed into full expression, and it is already fulfilled. So we can walk with a skip in our step, because it's already true. And together we can declare it as we say. And so it is. Thank you all, and thank you, and appreciate you all for coming. And join us on Sunday. Same amount of people, please. Thank you.